Welcome to today's Friday Forum, but it's not Friday, I know that, at the City Club. We have a special forum today. My name is Ralph Delarada, and I have the great pleasure of being the president of your City Club this year. As many of you know, the City Club has been around for a long time. We were established in 1912, and we were established by the City Fathers to encourage new ideas and a free exchange of thought in our city. We are indeed the oldest continuous speaking forum in the United States, and we have a long and storied tradition of free speech exercised through public debate and discussion. Today, the City Club is an organization where its diverse members participate in wide-ranging, high-quality forums, as well as, I'm happy to say, enjoy great camaraderie. We are a civic center where the Cleveland community comes together to encounter and challenge important ideas. And lastly, an electronic forum open not only to our nation, but to this world as a whole. As the current economic crisis continues to stabilize, hopefully stabilize, many believe healthcare will become the other major issue of the year. Currently, nearly 50 million Americans have no health coverage, and health insurance premiums continue to become less affordable for those who have health care plans. Our speaker today, and we're delighted to have him, is the Honorable Sherrod Brown. He's a leading voice in the Democratic Party's efforts to reform health care. Sherrod Brown has been representing Ohio in the United States Senate since his election in 2006. Sherrod is dedicated to his long-term goal of establishing universal health care coverage in America. In the meantime, he has stressed the need to preserve and expand programs that make health care more affordable and more accessible to as many Americans as possible. He has worked to curb pharmaceutical price gouging and fought to provide treatment to uninsured cancer patients. Additionally, his efforts to combat the antibiotic resistance threat to our public health system earned him the National Public Health Legislator of the Year Award from the American Public Health Association. Senator Brown has taken strong stances on a variety of other issues. He is a man of strong opinions. He has emphasized the need to develop the alternative energy industry, especially here in Ohio. He also was opposed to the war in Iraq from the very beginning. He also opposes unchecked free trade and led opposition to the Central American Free Trade Agreement. Senator Brown wrote a book titled Myths of Free Trade, in which he emphasizes the need to protect workers' rights, labor standards, food safety, and the environment while supporting American small businesses, family farmers, and ranchers. Both Senator Brown's supporters and his critics agree that he is sincere in his beliefs and positions on a wide range of issues. He is certainly resolute and, for example, refuses the Congressional Health Plan, I understand, because of a pledge he took 15 years ago, which stated he would not take such a plan until every Ohioan has health care coverage. And his wife, Connie, is still shaking her head on that one, but I'm not going to get in the middle of that one, Sherrod and Connie. Senator Brown has a long history of public service. He has taught in Ohio public schools and the Ohio State University and spent time in post-communist Poland teaching democracy and government to help the country's transition to a successful democratic system. He was originally elected to the Ohio House of Representatives in 1974 after knocking on more than 20,000 doors. I see the bruised knuckles, it's true. Senator Brown then served as Ohio Secretary of State from 1983 to 1990, where he led the most successful voter registration in the country, according to the Washington Post. He later represented Ohio's 13th District in the U.S. House of Representatives for 6 consecutive terms, before leaving the House and defeating Mike DeWine in Ohio's 2006 U.S. Senate election. He is a native of Mansfield, Ohio, grew up as a decorated Eagle Scout. I see some others here today that I know personally. He graduated from Yale University and earned his master's degree from the Ohio State University in Education Public Administration. He also has an honorary doctorate from Capital University. Senator Brown lives in Avon, Ohio with his wife, Connie Schultz, who we're happy to have with us today, who is an author and a Pulitzer Prize-winning columnist for the Cleveland Plain Dealer. Together they have 3 daughters and 1 son, all of whom are successful in every sense of the word. It's an honor to introduce this distinguished public servant today. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the Honorable Sherrod Brown to the City Club of Cleveland.
Ralph, thank you. It's great to be back at the City Club among friends and among colleagues and so many community activists that care so much about Cleveland and about Cuyahoga County, about this great part of Ohio. Some of you may recall that I was here just 2.5 years ago in a different building with about 1,000 City Club attendees. The circumstances were a little bit different. The Cleveland Indians had a bullpen in those days. Dick Cheney was penned up and pent up, apparently, and I was defending myself against accusations from my debate opponent that an employee of mine in the Secretary of State's office in the 1980s had eaten a banana laced with marijuana. Some of you may remember that. How times change. I survived that debate and was honored by the people of Ohio to become your United States Senator. It's a humbling experience. I would like to tell you one story from early in my time in the Senate. As you probably know, Congress, both the House and the Senate, much of what is done by seniority, including office selection, committee selection, and selection of a seat on the Senate floor, selection of a desk. And there were 10 of us, freshmen, in early 2007, each sort of scurrying around the Senate, figuring out where we were going to sit with the 10 still unoccupied desks and seats. And it occurred to me that, that I wasn't going to sit behind a pillar like at Cleveland Stadium. There aren't really a lot of bad seats in the U.S. Senate floor. So I had heard from a senior senator that senators carved their names in the desks of Senate and in the drawers of Senate desks. So I began to pull the desk drawers out to see who had been sitting in some of these 10 seats. The one I ultimately chose, as I pulled it out, the first name I saw was Hugo Black. Hugo Black, as you know, particularly it's interesting right now because of the President's appointment yesterday, his nomination for it as a new Supreme Court Justice. Hugo Black was the President Roosevelt's favorite Southern senator. He introduced legislation in 1931, when Hoover was still president, or 1932, calling for a 6-hour workday, 30-hour work week. I mean, it was considered so radical that President Roosevelt the next year was able to pass a 40-hour work week, something even Dick Pogue can appreciate. So, I'm sorry, Dick. I wasn't going to work that in, but I saw you here, and I was sitting there, I looked up Dick Pogue. I mean, it just seemed like an obvious thing to do. I always have, this desk also was carved, the name of Al Gore Sr. was carved in this desk. George McGovern, it said Gore, Tennessee, McGovern, South Dakota, and then on the right side of the desk drawer, it just said Kennedy. So I walked over to Ted, and I said, Ted, come here a second, would you? And he walks over, and I said, which brother had this desk? And he said, must be Bobby's desk because I have Jack's desk. So it was, as I appreciate that Senate history, I appreciate the history of the City Club and all the people that have come through, all the community activists that have asked them some of the toughest questions known to humankind, and the activism and the good community spirit that's come out of these City Club meetings. From Teddy Roosevelt to FDR to Bobby Kennedy, Jim Foster took me today to show me the picture of Kennedy, which I'm not sure I'd ever seen here before, and Rosa Parks, all have addressed the City Club, some walking past Elmer Brown's Freedom of Speech mural depicting the struggle for social and economic justice. Each of their lives was defined by the challenges of their generation and their responses to them. Teddy Roosevelt faced the challenge of an economy that was so concentrated and so lightly policed that it threatened the long-term vitality of our economic system. FDR faced the challenge of an economy in free fall and a country fearful for its future. Bobby Kennedy and Rosa Parks faced the challenges of economic and social injustice. Today we face many of these same challenges. Massive structural problems, economic weakness second only to the Great Depression, and inequality among our citizens that must be unacceptable in a democracy. The trusts of my Senate predecessor, Mark Hanna's days are gone, but they've been replaced by banks and insurance companies that are too big to fail. Trillions of dollars of wealth have evaporated over the past year and a half as real estate and credit bubbles have burst,